John Effiong was a tall, quiet boy from Calabar with dreams as vast as the Cross River. When his admission letter from Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Mouau, arrived, it was as though God himself had signed it. His mother danced, his father cried, and the village sang his praises. John was the first from his compound to gain admission into a federal university. It was supposed to be a new beginning, one paved with promise and pride. But John didn't know that the same gates that welcomed scholars also harbored shadows. Mouau was far from home, but John felt at peace. The school was buzzing with life, the air thick with ambition and arrogance. His first few weeks were filled with lectures, orientation programs, and late-night phone calls to his mother. But then came the invitations. It started with one boy in his class, Maxwell, a charismatic second-year student who wore designer clothes and seemed to have money pouring from every pocket. He introduced John to the world of night parties, off-campus lounges, and the underground brotherhood that ruled the school. Maxwell's words were honeyed with promise. You want to be protected? Respected? Untouchable? Join us. The world won't walk over you anymore. John hesitated at first. But when cult boys disrupted a test and the lecturer canceled it without resistance, he began to realize the unspoken truth. Power in school wasn't just about brains, it was about who stood behind you. One night, under a moonless sky, John was led blindfolded into a forest-like bush path just behind the university's second gate. He was surrounded by men who whispered in riddles and shouted oaths. That night, John became a member of the Vikings Confraternity, also known as the Arabega. They gave him a new name, Arrow Storm Venom. Life changed quickly. John was no longer that shy Calabar boy. Girls flocked to him. Lecturers feared him. His classmates respected, even feared, him. But deep inside, something in him was unsettled. He couldn't sleep. He saw shadows when he closed his eyes. He began to forget his mother's voice. As time passed, John began to realize that the Vikings cult was losing its grip on the campus. A more violent, better-connected group had risen, the Black Axe Confraternity, also known as Neo-Black Movement of Africa. They had newer recruits, dangerous weapons, and rumored links to politicians and the underworld. John's group was becoming obsolete. And with age-old rivalry brewing, the school became a ticking time bomb. John was approached by a final-year student named Luther, a Black Axe member. Luther told him the truth. If you remain with Vikings, you'll die poor and powerless. With the Black Axe, you'll rise like a strong man. That night, torn between loyalty and survival, John betrayed the Vikings and crossed over to the Black Axe. It was a decision that would soon drench the campus in blood. What began as rumors soon exploded into open warfare. Vikings discovered that one of their own, John, had crossed sides. Retaliation was inevitable. First, it was a brutal beating of one Black Axe member at a drinking joint. Then an ambush near the boys' hostel that left 2 students with machete wounds. Bullets was raining here and there. The peaceful campus became a war zone. By the time the school authorities realized the scale of the conflict, 4 students had been silenced. 3 from Vikings, 1 from Black Axe. John was marked. His face, once respected, became a target. He could no longer attend classes. His friends stopped answering his calls. He became a ghost, hiding from those he once called brothers. One evening, while hiding at a girlfriend's apartment off campus, a knock came at the door. John's heart stopped. He didn't wait to find out who it was. He jumped from the back window and ran, barefoot, bleeding, heart pounding. A bullet shattered the window behind him. He ran into the bush, hid in a drainage for 6 hours, and called his mother at 4:23 a.m. "Mama, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I want to come home." She didn't ask questions. She only cried. That was the last day John ever stepped foot on campus. Back in Calabar, John was broken. His once proud shoulders sagged under the weight of guilt, fear, and failure. He refused to eat, didn't leave the house for weeks, and had nightmares of faces he had seen during his dark days, some dead, some still hunting. But grace has a way of finding even the most shattered soul. One Sunday morning, his mother dragged him to church. He didn't want to go, but she said nothing, just held his hand and looked into his eyes. He followed her. The preacher didn't know John's story, but his message that day cut through him like a blade. You can run from your past, but you can't hide from God. His mercy is deeper than your shame. That altar call felt like judgment and freedom at once. John wept like a child. In front of the whole congregation, he gave his life to Christ. Redemption doesn't erase the past, but it gives you strength to face it. John started working at a Christian bookshop. He later got involved with a youth group that helped rehabilitate ex-cultists and street boys. His story became his testimony. In time, he returned to school, not to Michael Okpara University, but to a smaller college in Akwa Ibom, where no one knew his past. He studied sociology and graduated with second-class upper. Years later, he became a counselor, guiding at-risk youth, preaching in schools, prisons, and correctional centers. He stood before crowds not with bullets or machetes, but with truth and grace. And with that, he turned away, leaving the past buried but never forgotten. Please stay away from crime.